So if you're sensing overwhelm, you won't be able to achieve that, which is when you hear people say, well, I do X and Y and Z with my team and this and that, and then at 5 o'clock I start my real job because I don't have time during the day. And my response is, the stuff you're doing before 5 o'clock, that's your real job. The stuff you're doing after 5 o'clock, you need to delegate it because that's not your real job anymore. So we are, again, by creatures really task orientated. People love to tick the list. These are the things I've got on my list, and these are the things I've done. And whilst relevant, what it does is it draws us in a focus towards doing, not leading, right? Leading is not just about doing things. It's not doing the stuff. It's leading people who do the stuff. It's knowing how to create the space for them to flourish, not to flourish yourself. In other words, it's the space where this team of people that you're working with and who happen to report through to you, it is your job now to help them excel, to create a space where they can be fulfilled at what they do and enjoy what they do and find meaning in what they do. That doesn't come from you doing their job. It comes from you helping them and supporting them to do their job and do it better. So the first thing I'd say is overwhelm is a natural sense. It requires one to recognize I'm overwhelmed, and the next thing is, how can I stop being overwhelmed? And one of the first things is to stop doing stuff that you ought not to be doing. When I say ought not to be, that is no longer your job. It is someone else's job. We find often people in service industries are very attuned to saying, Maria, how can I help? What do you need from me? What can I do to help you out, Maria? That's fantastic. But there's a big but there. That then leads to what we call collecting monkeys, putting yet another monkey on your back. Okay? So whilst it's helpful to help Maria sort out the challenges that Maria is facing, the minute you are willing to and welcoming an exchange of monkeys, you'll get another one on your back, and Maria will walk away going, oh, that's great. Rex is going to help me now. I'll see you later, right? So we can, even without realizing it, just start to grow the weight of stuff we have on. And then it's about, what do I do first? Right? Where do I go? So I would say the first thing is, in any situation, whether you're in a team or whether you lead a team, at whatever level, the first thing is to recognize I'm feeling overwhelmed. The next thing is to map out why you're feeling overwhelmed. What is it that's on your plate that's having you feel overwhelmed? And I've seen a senior exec who said to me, look at what I've got on today. And there's an A4 page filled every line with something on it.
Yeah, tasks.
Right?
Possibly.
Tasks. And I say, okay, so, and I said straight away, so go through that list and tell me how many things that you've got on that list that someone else either is doing or should be doing, not you. And half the list went.
Yeah.
And then I said, how much of that list of stuff you have left is merely an update? Like, what's going on with this thing? Another half went. And I said, you can't abdicate all that. Right? You can't just crossroads, you just forget it. It has to happen. But it's a difference. It's not I have to do it. It's about how can I set up a structure that allows me to keep in touch with what's going on, right? Because the things I need to do have gone from an A4 page now down to about 6 lines. And those are the important things to do.
The strategic.
Point. So then it's about triage, then it's about sorting out priorities, then it's about delegation, then it's about following up. But the thing that I would say in all of this, and these are all skills, by the way, these are not things that just magically appear, they are skills. And that's where tools come in. And there's a range of tools depending on the situation and depending on the requirement that become really relevant. And there's some old school ones that are really, really effective in my view. But the thing that I would say is important is to triage what's going on. If such a thing appears on your plate, who's it for? Who can do it? Who needs to do it? Who needs to be involved? Who do you delegate it to? Who do you delegate it to with the right structure that allows you to know that something is being A, done with it, and B, that you're going to hear updates as they go. So you can now put it out of your mind because someone else is working. Not forget it, but put it out of your mind. Because the onus is then on the other person to be able to report back to you, this is what's happening, this is what's happening. And you provide that framework, you don't provide the instructions, right? So if you're providing instructions on delegation, you may as well do it yourself.
Exactly.
So there's a couple of things I would suggest to begin to consider, and that would be at any level. And the reason that fails, the biggest reason that fails, is because, and I've met many leaders who, whilst they won't openly say it, I know in their mind they think it, that's too simple for me. I'm much more. My stuff is much more important than that. I don't need to triage my work. I don't need to prioritize my work. I've just got so much of it. But the challenge is, without them taking charge of that, their team are not taking charge of their stuff, and their teams below that are not taking charge of their stuff. And what you end up with is this backlog of stuff that goes nowhere. And so we will speak to a CEO who says, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do with my work. The first question is, so why don't you delegate it to your team? Well, I can't because they're flat out. So you talk to their team. What's going on there? I'm so flat out. I've got so much on my plate. Why don't you delegate it to you? I can't because they're so big, and so it goes.
It's a vicious circle.
It's a vicious circle. Now, all it requires is someone to go, enough. Enough of this rubbish. Let's just sort it out, right? And even from a team perspective, how much of the work that is being done is both important, critical, urgent, whatever words you want to use, and how much can happen next week? And how about we go back to Maria and say, how important is this, Maria? Do you need it next week? Or is the week after okay? Okay, great. That's another thing. Now, that requires a little bit of thinking and a little bit of planning. Not much, but what it starts to do is to ease that overwhelm. The greatest challenge for us is for people to understand that that's a process and a skill that can be learned and makes a massive amount of difference. All too often again, the ego. I'm so important. I have so much important stuff to do. I can't prioritize it. Well, everyone can. Now, my threat to every executive is give me your calendar and I'll find 30% free space in your calendar in an hour. Only a few brave souls have taken me up on that. But it is about what's important and what needs doing right now and what needs your specific involvement. And you'll be surprised how much you can suddenly shed. Now, that's a long way around to come back to overwhelm, but it is perennial. It is ever thus. And I'm sure, Maria, in your experience, you've met people who are just so overwhelmed, and yet when you give them some structure to be able to overcome them, what they believe is, I'm overwhelmed because I'm so important.
Yeah.
I'm important, therefore I am overwhelmed. No, importance of, that's whatever. I won't go there.
In government, you have a lot of those.
You have a lot of those, right?
Important, I'm so overwhelmed.
It's stature, right? It's all about stature.